Story 1. The scariest thing we could find on another planet would be, according to the Great Filter theory, the ruins of an advanced civilization. The Great Filter was proposed as a solution to the Fermi paradox. Basically, we don't know why we haven't run into alien life even though the universe should be crawling with life. What the Great Filter proposes is that somewhere between the origin of life and its eventual development into spacefaring civilizations, there is a filter that kills off almost every form of life. The question then becomes at what stage this filter exists. Let's say that we scour the cosmos and the only evidence of alien life we find is fossilized bacteria. That suggests that the filter is somewhere very early in the development of life, like the jump from single-celled organisms to multicellular life. That's a good thing because it means we've already put the Great Filter behind us. If, however, we find planets filled with the ruins of cities, broken skyscrapers, crumbling automobiles, and derelict spaceports, then we're in trouble. That suggests that whatever it is that keeps advanced life from exploding all over the universe, we're headed straight for it. Story 2. A stone tablet, when translated, reads, "We have been trying to contact you regarding your planet's extended warranty." Story 3. I saw this horror video about us finding another planet with man-made buildings exactly like ours, just in ruins. The concept is that we are not the first planet to house humans, and at some point they went extinct before we could contact them. Story 4. A record book of dozens of civilizations more advanced than ours, all giving their last statement indicating their inevitable and near extinction. It scares me to see all the technology and medical advances we have today, yet we still continue to make terrible choices for our future. Seeing more advanced beings fail would basically convince me that not only are we doomed as well, but far sooner than they. Story 5. In all seriousness, probably vestiges of a civilized society, which would support the Great Filter theory, thus placing a hard limit on the full existence of humanity. Story 6. A planet that is completely covered by a viscous liquid filled with billions of forms of creatures of various sizes, all competing to live and consuming each other. Every square inch of space is filled with eating and being eaten. Story 7. Herds of humans in pens used for meat production. You hear a noise and turn around slowly. Oh my God, what is that? Story 8. Human ghosts, like all the people who have ever died on Earth, are drifting about on some other planet, floating through each other. Story 9. To discover that every planet is basically a ground of human secretions and that for countless years, humans have always conquered planets, hunted everything, and taken all the resources while soiling the environment as they do on Earth, and then wait for a ship to bring them to another planet so they can do it all over again. Humans are the most supreme, after all. Story 10. Information about events on Earth since time began. And it is all very scientific, nothing like what the Bible has written. I think that would freak a lot of people out. Story 11. More humans, except they are living in a literal paradise similar to Wakanda or something like it. We are just the foolish version down here struggling on Earth while they are watching, wondering what is taking so long. Story 12. Clear evidence of the complete destruction of all life on that planet brought on by dominant intelligent species accelerated climate collapse. Story 13. An exact mirror image of Earth as it is now, with the same city placement, the same political motivations, and the same everything, but completely dead and decaying. Story 14. A civilization. We humans treat animals differently than we treat ourselves. Either we eat them or keep them as pets. I mean, centuries ago, we enslaved our own kind just because they spoke differently and had different skin colors. Now, imagine we discovered an alien civilization. It's going to go in two ways. If the alien civilization is primitive, I am pretty sure our nature will just take over and enslave them like we did with other people centuries ago. Or if we discovered a far more advanced civilization, we would become their slaves, and that is the better scenario. The worst-case scenario is extinction or us turning into livestock. In my opinion, it is better for us not to meet aliens. It will not go very well. Story 15. Nothing. It would be frightening if we searched the entire universe and found nothing at all. Just carbon copies of more or less desolate planets, one after another. Story 16. An advanced race that will stop at nothing to eat you. But first, they would like to hear more about where you are from. Story 17. a bunker with several monitors. The main one displaying Trump's point of view is controlled by a strange giant slug. Story 18. You. A different version of you living a life you might have had you taken that job or married that person. Whether or not you had children or turned left instead of right that day. Story 19. A superweapon that has the capability of destroying entire planets, like in Star Wars, is taking aim at our solar system. Story 20. A civilization of tiny people that I would dominate, enslave, and force to worship me. However, as soon as they displeased me and I wiped them out, another race of giants would discover me and accidentally kill me while checking me out. Story 21. An exact copy of all of us, but the physics of the world are all opposite of ours, and the internal organs are on the opposite side of their bodies. They also know we have been coming for a long time and are ready for us. Story 22. Something that would prove we have been infiltrated and harvested without detection for a long time. Maybe some sort of catalog of things for sale that includes humans and objects that have been missing here for decades. Amelia Earhart, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, DB. Cooper, Nuclear Weapons, Operations Dad. Then a few coming soon listings and see your name or your child's name listed. Story 23. I often think of an advertisement I saw about conservation. One picture showed an ocean scene with a shark fin and was captioned, "Scary." The second had the same shot of the ocean without a shark fin and was captioned, "Scarier." In other words, a world without sharks, or any other animal, is a horrible and terrifying thought. The scariest thing to find on another planet is not finding anything at all, on any planet. The idea that we are it, with no other life, scares me immensely. Story 24. You all are saying things like humans, but honestly, I think some classic aliens like xenomorphs would be pretty scary too. Story 25. Evidence that shortly after achieving 21st century Earth levels of technological sophistication, the advanced species invariably ended up going extinct and rendered the planet inhospitable to life. Story 26. Take your pick of science fiction horror movie or video game aliens. Xenomorph or facehugger from Alien, Necromorph from Dead Space, Ouroboros or Las Plagas from Resident Evil, and so on. Story 27. Bacteria that we would have no ability to defend against due to a lack of natural immunity, and we would not know that we are transporting them back to Earth. Story 28. The ruins of a continent-spanning civilization. It would imply that the Great Filter is still ahead of us. Story 29. Vertebrate life. It would all but confirm the Great Filter theory and that we are most likely in a precarious situation. Story 30. Proof that we didn't evolve on Earth, but came from there. Then I wonder what made them leave and where did they go after dropping us off? Story 31. I have always thought that finding life on another planet that practices one of the same religions as humans would be fascinating. For example, if they found Christians on another planet, then I would probably start going to church. Story 32. Some records of their history indicate that their last historical advancements were the internet and nuclear power, with everyone deceased. Story 33. Evidence that we are the strange ones. What if life is really predictable and all other planets ended up with their versions of dinosaurs being the dominant form of life? But because of how many extinction events we have experienced, we are the only mammals to have gained sentience ever. Story 34. Other human beings or life forms building large nuclear weapons and breeding farms similar to the movie The Matrix grotesquely displayed. Story 35. This has been covered in science fiction movies forever. Gigantic violent Godzilla-sized monsters that would make you a light snack, like a single peanut from a bowl. Story 36. Honestly, the xenomorph species from Alien is a pretty succinct answer to this. They kind of nailed the brief with that creature. Story 37. How would it be if we were met with utter indifference or mild annoyance? Or they just bugged us and went about their business? Story 38. Anything known to have come from Earth, but in a permanent installation. For example, a Las Vegas sign that looks exactly like the one in Las Vegas, but also as if it were installed on another planet and has since been buried or something similar. Story 39. If you go to another planet and find them there, just drop something into their sun so it goes nova. Story 40. One of the past astronauts who went to the moon. Not an alien version or an identical twin, just straight up them. Story 41. A super species that views you as a source of sustenance. They will domesticate you and prevent you from naturally evolving. Story 42. A Type 1 or higher tier civilization that either wants to destroy us because it still practices organized religion or wants nothing to do with us because we still practice organized religion. Story 43. The entire planet is just a graveyard, not skull and bones all over, but graves everywhere. Some are freshly buried while others are centuries old. But there is not a living being around. Story 44. Going to go with tentacular horrors with big sharp teeth that are sadists and can reconstitute you after eating you somehow so they can do it more than once. Story 45. A stone binary clock counting down. There are enough digits for billions of years, but it is less than a year to zero. Story 46. The ancient aliens who cultivated our civilization have decided that now, as we have become a spacefaring race, we are finally ripe for harvesting. Story 47. Human civilization. We don't know how the brains of a truly alien species work. We know exactly how evil humans are. This is before getting into all the questions of how there is another planet populated by humans. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.